Royalties of peace, stilling the storm back to peace that has no storm, looking unto perfect peace. How we all doing today? Another Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month of November. Today is November 29th of 2023, and it brings to us this beautiful video on recovery, a discovery. Recovery, a discovery. Last Wednesday was a day before Thanksgiving, United States Thanksgiving, a reminder of the pilgrims' arrival into a new world. We call it a new world, yet it was time for a new order all over the world. A new order taking place started in a new world. Interestingly, they came in with a new order into this new world, today called America, a miniature of the world, a universal world, a miniature of a universal world, talking about multicultural beings we are. I was trying for us to understand how the New World Order met the natives of this land. It was not such a sight we would expect of meeting a new friend, but a sight of curiosity and fear. The turkey, the main staple of this Thanksgiving table, figurative of today understanding, it reflects the mind, stuffed with integrity, not despair. We've been struggling with despair for so long, like a battlefield of the mind, a reminder of the integrity that is supposed to be stuffed of this mind. The mind is like spirit. Power. The mind is power. Spirit is power. Mind is power. The mind, like a bird, is supposed to be free, battlefield free, what the bird represents. It might have started the complicated way. Excuse me, of eating animals and eating plants. Two of us today realizing even the physical state where we are is a complicated state. It's like feasting on self. It's like eating on self, bruising on self, addicted of bruising on self we have become, the multiplying, bringing children into the complicated state. It's bringing a being. We call them children, but they are a whole being. We bring them in a state of which we can handle. It's like compressing them into a little body that we can handle. And when they begin to grow, we struggle with them. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving table with its staple, the turkey. Some are not animal eaters. Some are vegans. Their main dishes would be like apple pie or pumpkin pie, all stuffed doughs. Still a reminder of the stuffing in us, like battlefield, must reverse to battlefield free. We cannot keep stuffing ourselves with despair. We must be able to reverse the despair to integrity, its reality. Enough of holding onto the shadow. Must we get to hold onto the expected? Of the mind, battlefield free. None left behind. Which is why today we have not only technology, but the internet, online communication, so speedy and faster than the road drive of ancient days, of yesterday. Understanding the story of the USA Thanksgiving, of its best that I could bring, considering our journey of peace during the storm back to peace that has no storm, we are looking forward to perfect peace. Working with integrity, the knowledge of reversing despair to integrity. Understanding that integrity was our origin. And now I'm feeling like with despair, like holding onto the shadow, we must be able to hold onto the real rope and ascend. If we have to really ascend from this complicated state to the uncomplicated, we must hold onto the real rope, the ROBE, the rope of integrity. The more we hold onto the shadow, we stay going down. Unfortunately, going down is endless. We'll only reach a place where we want to go back up. Everything we do or make or seek or dream of are all on the path to integrity, the same pathway. Looking like different, yet the destination is one. Our destination is perfect peace, integrity. Some say the roads all lead to one. Others say there is no wrong. Bother some of us of what do you mean by all roads lead to one destination? Or may say, what do you mean by everything is right? When we say everything, when we say there is no wrong, does not mean that everything is right. There is no wrong of the mind of integrity, only states that no one is wrong in the first place, even though maybe experiencing complications on the way. Must remember our origin, perfect that we are. Keeping despair is not okay. Must we not misunderstand all all things are okay to mean keeping despair is okay. All things are okay, meaning of the origin, they were all good. But now must be able to find out their diagnosis. Having cultures is only an exposure of diagnosis, weaknesses. The good in every culture is the same of them all, is one. Interestingly, some will say the good of others is not the same good of others. Then you may be mistaking another's diagnosis for a good. Some are addicted to their weaknesses, calling them good. But if you look at them very, very vigilant, if you're vigilant enough, you will see some good in them that are the same good of your own good, of wellness. Some relate by their weaknesses, some relate by their well being. Now we struggle with what is good. Recovery, a discovery. We are recovering our reality. The discovery is the reality. We are recovering back to our reality. Therefore, there is a gap in the way, a loss. There is a loss in the way, which is why we are recovering. Therefore, we had lost a fallen state. This loss only a pondering state of our being. Why is there a fall in the first place? What is a fall? There should be nothing like a fall, but only the growing of self to the expected. Will there be another complicated than this when we stand? May be the question we have in mind. Of every new stage, there is a new complication to face. Our origin was perfect before we fell. If we had never been perfect and arising from a fall, it would be very understandable. But if we had stood before and then had a fall, therefore, if we stand, we could still fall. How can we be very sure that we cannot fall again if there is a fall? A son conceived is of a father. Seeing the father is seeing self of grown, though have not been grown. A seed seeing a tree has not been grown, but knows the end by seeing the tree. Though not yet grown, know what being grown is like by seeing a grown. Born of perfect peace, experiencing despair is like being a child born, but being able to see integrity. Whether you had been born before or not, yet you see integrity you have to grow into. Born again, recovery. It's like an image of self expressed. You are like an image of your reality. The six is the image of nine. Nine must reverse six to reflect itself of expected. Of being born, you grow up and you cannot fall again. Our next video will be on reincarnation to understand a little bit what I'm trying to really explain here. It's very, very interesting how we've been struggling when we had the answer. All this because of too many, not because we don't have the answer. We have the answer, but we are just too many. Why we have the world today of coming together in a very interesting way. United States of America is a multicultural of all now, all nations of all existence in the United States of America. Other countries have other people too, but America is well known of being measured with multicultures, its diversities. The dictionary Oxford language the dictionary Oxford language online says recovery is a return to a normal state of health and mind or strength, regaining what you had gained because you lost it. Now I'm trying to gain it back, is what regaining is, and regaining is recovery. Recovery, a discovery. When we discover our ability of recovery, it's very, very appealing. But the question now is, what is that to us today of this journey to perfect peace? The recovery of perfect peace we must journey back to. Realizing a storm, a place of being a child, a place of questioning, of pondering of the mind. It's what we call a fall. It's what we call a storm. It's what we call despair. Surely a mango falls from the mango tree. It does not fall from a guava tree or from the skies. It falls from a mango tree, therefore can become a tree. Regain, regain perfect peace again by regaining. So the mango, perfect peace, is a regaining of self. And again, it seems like we have lost our expected being, which is why we struggle with disabilities of the mind. And now at a state of being so desperate to regain perfect peace, seeking for restoration, being so exhausted. It is possible to become perfect peace without a storm. It is possible for storm to reverse to peace. We have experienced a crying child tamed to a happy child. If we are able to help a child recover to happiness, then we can encourage all to wellness, not only self. It is even much easier because we know perfect peace do exist. Even in a storm, we experience peace. Recovery or discovery. Discovery is our origin before the fall, or an attempt to hold on to the shadow. And now recovery to the expected, when we know the shadow is despair and the rope is integrity. Like I said in the beginning of the video, we must hold on to the rope and not lose sight of the rope. And that even when we fall onto holding onto the shadow of the rope going down, we must try to grab the rope again, because beneath is endless. Keep on trying to grab onto the rope, and you find yourself coming back up. It does not matter how far you are down. You have to grab the rope at any point that you can and try returning. And that is integrity. Having in mind the need to grab the rope or staying holding onto the rope coming up until we reach perfect peace. The rope and its shadow look alike, but are two different existence. The other cannot be held. The other is just air, cannot be held, cannot be real, it's unrealistic. Every despair, every struggle we have is unrealistic. We cannot hold on to them. Which is why it is said when you're angry, look for a means to be happy. And that's how we reverse the shadows to the reality of expected. When you're in the dark, look for light. No matter how long it takes, keep looking for light. You then realize just the mindset of looking for light is light already in the dark, and cannot give up on that little light that you have. The light in the dark is your mind of looking for light. Do not lose sight, do not lose hope. Independence, we await. to shout to our colonial masters, independence, independence. The stuff, one in the mind, is slave if it's despair, must be free by reversing the despair to integrity. When the one stuffed in you is enslaved, it cannot be for too long. They will outgrow, like the baby outgrows the womb, and seek to be free. The rope becomes their gastrointestinal system, their gut, GUT, while the umbilical cord ceases. It was a means of feeding, but when they have outgrown the womb, it begins to cease and the reality becomes expected. What is the spinal cord to us? Is the mindset of I must grab onto the rope, even when holding onto nothing. When holding onto the shadow is holding onto nothing, is having despair. The mindset of looking for the rope, looking for integrity is like the spinal cord. And once you grab onto onto the rope, onto integrity, that mindset of wanting to hold onto integrity gives way, meaning it reverses to the rope of expected. The light shines brighter from the mindset of looking for the rope to holding onto the rope. I hope this is making sense to us. Of coming from a long generation of being slaves and slave masters. The mind stuck in the body. Who suffers more is the physical. The slave master must reverse the mind to integrity to fulfill its mission. I've tried to compare this looking onto a pregnant woman who enslaves the one in the womb, calling the one my child. With time, they begin to tell the child, get out of my house. This house can no longer contain you. You are grown and more than grown enough to become an independent one. The longer a child stays with their parents, the parents worry. The parents worry because we live in a world system where a child must outgrow the house and get out of the house. But all this expression is to help us to understand that in a complicated state, we are very unalike unto each other. Of the activities we do are contrary to each other. Bringing one in while going out, of which we come from a place where we are all equal and rested, where there is no slave, nor slave masters, but one of integrity, one of integrity. The beginning may feel comfortable, but with time, it's uncomfortable. Drinking may feel all right, but with time, drunkenness. Even of the GI system, with time, it's boring and disturbing when the mind becomes of integrity. The physical begins to express complications of all we do, not adding up unto perfect peace. Aware before becoming a stuffing in the belly of the colony, of the colonial. Aware before becoming a stuffing in the belly of the colonial. We were free. The child before becoming of the womb was a free mind before being given flesh in the womb of a woman. Now I'm feeling trapped by this flesh that bruises, that gets hurt. The colonial master it is to the mind that was free of battlefield. Some minds get out of their colonial masters self-enslaved. Interestingly, colonies become slave masters to themselves, having leaders because the people cannot rule over a world. There must be a chosen one, a one mind that can speak where we have different minds. The unrealistic side of us, the complicated. I'm talking about colonial and colonies today because of this month. More about the natives of this land, of the United States of America, brings to mind the invasion, the invading of the greater minds into others, expecting them to be of lower minds. And they, in the land, receiving this ones, feeling so greater, of a different mind, of today, truly are greater. But the others also of greater, of their keeping of the naturals, was to emphasize the complicated state is not home, while those who invaded had the mindset of keeping the naturals should not be limiting us from experiencing our reality even when in a complicated state. You can still experience happiness while on the journey to perfect home of celebration. If we forget happiness because we are returning home, when we get home, we may end up forgetting how to even smile. We can start smiling even from where we are. True, we are not home, the natural, as the natives would say. But the invaders have the mindset of we can experience home even when far away from home. Not to stay, but practicing a home while on the journey back home. So when we get home, it'll be easier to blend in, to blend into reality. We all were right. Now we are now on the right table of thanksgiving unto each other. We are grateful of realizing we all are not home. Yet, it can take happiness to return home. The mind of integrity is very important to reverse despair. Let us learn from our mistakes, not to fall back again. For the young are learning from us. We must not experience falls, but make lessons. Must we encourage the young ones not to make the same mistakes we've made, but travel the road of expected? For all the holes, the potholes we have fallen into have been locked, so that the children should not be able to fall, is what we try to implement. And now, if they have to go dig to find out why they don't have to fall, we have to be able to explain to them detailedly. Take the time to explain detailedly. If you don't have time to explain detailedly to a child, then you cannot bring a child into this world. And we know we are in a rush. Therefore, what's the point? Well, we have no time to explain to the young to the point of their understanding. Not all of them understand the same. Some take a long time to understand, others take a very shorter time. Now, you will not rely on those that take a shorter time to be able to explain to the others, thinking that, oh, since these ones have understood, at least we are covered. It is our responsibility to make sure they all understand. They all understand. And if the last has not understood, then we have work to be done. like the sun shines on all sponges according to their degree of wetness. Some will dry faster before the others. Does not mean we should neglect those that are still wet, but patient for them to get dry does not mean we have to soak all the others that are already dried either. Neither are we to soak ourselves because we are waiting for them to get dry. We can be in a place of happiness while helping the others to encourage to wellness. So perfect. Yes, no matter how wet or soaked a sponge is, it's just a matter of time for all to be dried. Now we must be intelligent of how we are letting them drying up, not mixing the dried with the wet ones. You may say, but the wet sponge needs a companion, needs someone there with them. But now brings to mind the need of a colonial master to a colony, a teacher to a student. Sometimes feels like an affliction, like hurting, but we will tell of what is the physical expresses. Some will complain sitting down for someone else to teach them because we all come from a place of intelligence. It's very disturbing to have someone teach you when you're all of equal intelligence. Finding yourself being recovered is very disturbing when you're an adult by another adult. When you know you're not a child, it's very disturbing, especially when the child is watching. It's very disturbing. But yet we need to recover. We are in the rushing hours. We need to recover. Now, how we speak to others of our age group should be with integrity, respect, and also to the young. Let us reflect on what we are really missing of this recovery stage. The recovery, a discovery, has a lot of integrity to be implemented. Recovery, a discovery, we seek. So, what is this to us today? Wellness, caring, kindness, forgiving self. Even if I forgive you, if you haven't forgiven yourself, how will you recover? Even when you say, forgive me, if you haven't seek yourself of truth, how will you recover? Saying it must be of doing it, and the practice to perfect must be. Sometimes seems like a 2 on 10 is worth it, even when it's a 3 on 10. It's not about comparison with others. If you're comparing with others, it should be of encouraging self and not that which breaks you down. If you have to compare with someone else better than you, it should be what makes you grow of better, encourages you to wellness and not break you down. Please, our journey to peace that has no storm, looking unto perfect peace, takes peace still in the storm. We must be able to peace still our storms. We are now at the place of recovery. We just discovered our recovery after many schools attending. Like pregnancy have trimesters of 3 months, where the duration of the pregnancy. Also, human development has its stages according to Lord Erickson's of aging. Having these two, we contemplate upon and where the reality we have is not about trimesters, but of the 8 stages of Lord Erickson of human development, not pregnancy. Human development is what we face, is what we should hold on to, and not of the pregnancy of 3 months period of the duration of pregnancy. The 8 stages of the human development, starting from 0 to 65 and above. We look onto integrity, the end, which we could even start achieving from the very start of 0. It's hard to judge pregnancy because you know not what the child is up to until the child is conceived. When we look at a child's birth, it's like leaving a frying pan to fire because the child is in the mother's womb and more protected than coming to the outside where they think is free, but more of a fire, more of complicated, more of self realizing and need of working to be reproduced in another zone of perfect peace. They need to return. When you come into a place where it is a place of working on self instead of perfect peace, you then just realize that a mistake has been made. Conception was first of all a problem. A mistake was the fall, was a bump of the head, the stuff in the mind. When the womb is the mind and the child the stuffing, more of like a despair, you coming out of the womb crying out for integrity, integrity, integrity. The pregnant bomb of a woman reflects the mind of every being, needing a birth, a rebirth, a born again, experiencing the battlefield seeking for perfect peace. The colonial masters and their colony, the same reflection. A figurative we must walk upon, seeking for integrity, of we all becoming equal beings, of colleagues, and not one greater than the other. That when we have one greater today than us, it's because of our diversity, our breaking into pieces, our brokenness into pieces, which is why we have ministers, we have the head of states and leaders of the house expressing broken pieces. Yet, being friends, we know what it is like being friends, colleagues. It takes integrity, respecting each other. It's what we call mutual friendship, mutual relationship, mutual love. Perfect peace, none left behind. You could call it a fantasy because of the state where we are of complicated. But yet we must be able to try to have the hope and faith to hold on to the rope, looking for the rope of peace still in the storm, integrity. And once we find the rope, we have just crossed the path of looking for the rope. We've just crossed one stage. Until we are done with the rope, going up, we become perfect peace. The true birth of the trimesters of humanity following the 8 stages is a step-by-step journey, bit by bit, traveling until we reach our goal. Do not give up now, please. Do not give up now. We must be able to work with each other until we are able to all shout independence to the colonial master, the complicated state, which also seeks freedom to become integrity of uncomplicated. When we call our complicated state the colonial master, it also calls us back, colonial master. We are a friend. We are colleagues. We are the natives of perfect peace, lost in a zone of complicated state. We are not the natives of this land, of this world of complicated, but we are the new world order, able to resurrect to the perfect of battlefield free. Even before the natives were here, it was an empty land. Before they came in, they were the first light. Before the pilgrims or the Western who came in second, and today of all over the world, an expression of we are missing and trying to find our heart, our missing peace, perfect peace. We've been traveling looking for a perfect peace, looking like a shadow to us, but instead we are the shadow of complicated state, looking for our integrity, a reality where we are truly of existence. This year has been a great journey, and we're looking forward to a reincarnation of greater illumination. Light, light, light everywhere this month and December, honoring our reality. The need to reverse despair to integrity. What is the stuffing in your mind? We are all turkeys. We are all the bird fallen. Now, what is your stuffing? Let it be despair reversing to integrity, because integrity is the perfect of us. Ice sublimes, because ice is air in its complicated state called ice. Water evaporates because it is air in its complicated state called water. Whatever that you are made of the complicated state, be of ice or water, whatever body you carry, of whatever creature you are, all are on a journey to one perfect peace, integrity. Reversing despair to integrity is a journey. None left behind. None left behind must we cease from bringing down, but rather all going up, encouraging all to go up and not coming down. Reminding ourselves the most wet must get dry and not the dry ones coming into the wet ones. Let your light shine so that the wet ones can get dry. Let your light shine so the wet ones can get dry. Light, only a symbol of integrity, perfect peace. Must all despair receive integrity? Have a sight of integrity so they can heal. Sometimes it feels like hate, or sometimes you gain jealousy looking at integrity. Must there be a reminder your reality is integrity, and to reach it will take only integrity and not despair. Hate is only despair blocking yourself from reaching your perfect. Let us work together, being the true bird, the true mind, invisible perfect, of battlefield free must be, perfect peace. I hope the end of this month helps us welcome December healthily, our last month of the year. Let us do our best to really be advanced and not in despair, having in mind the integrity we must be able to achieve next and not holding on to despair. If you haven't held the rope yet, be the mind that is looking for the rope. If you haven't had integrity yet, be the mind looking for integrity and not trying to hold on to despair, impossible to be held onto. Despair is only an unrealistic state, impossible to exist. Have the right mind. Be you of holding the rope already or still in the process of wanting to hold the rope. Please let us be of the mind integrity seeking, battlefield free. We hold on to at the end. Welcome December with the right mind, putting up the lights of whatever holiday you're observing of light. Is it Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa? We just honored Diwali. Whatever light holiday you have, we all are light and must celebrate ourselves every day. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for next Wednesday. Welcome in December, month of light. Our next video will be on reincarnation, understanding reincarnation together. Recovery is what we need, holding on to the mind of integrity or looking forward to hold on to it, even if you haven't been able to reach to what you expect. Keep on aiming. Integrity is the only way to not keep yourself back. Peace steals the storm back to peace that has no storm, looking unto perfect peace. Thank you all for watching today and stay tuned for next Wednesday.